a life update. It is Sunday, April 25th, 2021. I'm recording this at my house, in generally kind of where I study and where I actually spend a lot of my time during quarantine nowadays. So yeah, first things first, I'm committed to college. I'm going to the University of Washington in the fall, and even though I did get rejected from my initial choice of the Foster School of Business, I think in due time I'll kind of figure out what I want to do, and not being kind of locked in that major right away. I'll be fine. Kind of explain my decision a little bit. I was accepted into a number of great schools, and I worked really hard independently to kind of make that happen, and I filled out all that application information myself, and I'm really proud of what I did. But the general consensus was that I didn't want to go into twice the amount of debt I would at UW, compared to other schools, like Gonzaga, for example. Gonzaga was a great school, don't get me wrong, and I liked it. It was just that I think maybe for the price and not knowing exactly what I wanted to do, I just wasn't sure I wanted to go in twice in debt. So that's my rationale behind that. I'm excited to go to college. It's gonna be a lot of new experiences. Yeah, I think that's really all I have to say about that. Maybe one last thing is that I'm frantically putting together a Notion doc and gathering all these resources to help me succeed, and I might do early fall start. I might start basically end of August through the beginning of the actual school year. So that's kind of the thing. That's kind of the shtick on college. I'm in an internship right now. I'm at a wonderful company called Fiveable, and they are helping make education more democratized, and they're getting out more resources to students who want to take APs, who want to be better at taking APs, and I am currently interning to their CEO, it's Amanda Domeral, who has been an awesome boss and mentor and supervisor, and I've met a bunch of awesome people who, if I went into detail, would probably take the rest of this video. But yeah, I'm really liking my experience there. I definitely did not expect to get it initially, so shout out to Tessa for helping me put my application together and getting that in. And Tessa actually just got her own position as intern to the CXO, so I'm very excited for her to join my team. But yeah, that's kind of the gist of it. I'm not sure how much I'm even allowed to disclose, so I'll kind of keep it at that. But yeah, I've been in, almost 2 months now, basically, since I started in, February. So yeah, I'm honestly just really grateful to be kind of part of that team, and I'm glad I was able to leave my wage job at Starbucks to go do something that I'm much more passionate about. So yeah, I think that's kind of the summary for my internship. School, what's happening with school? I'm actually completely remote right now. I'm a dual enrollment student taking courses at Bellevue College, which used to be a community college. So basically I'm taking community college courses, which a lot of those credits transfer over to the University of Washington, which is the good news. So I'll be a little bit ahead of the curve in terms of, just general prereqs, maybe electives here and there. But yeah, I've been taking a few classes, mostly introductory ones. So like last quarter I took Introduction to Statistics, Introduction to Psychology. I can't even remember the last class I took, but business communications, which was kind of a waste in hindsight. It doesn't transfer anywhere, and it was a lot of busy work. But yeah, honestly, schoolwork doesn't take up as much time as it used to, for better or for worse, which means I can basically control exactly how much I want to study, and that's kind of a more common theme across everything that I'm doing right now. It's just like I have so much control over exactly what I want to do. I get to do how much and for however long. And that's kind of backfired on me, and in other ways that has drastically improved my experience. Going to school and working from home, and everything is done on my trusty M1 13-inch MacBook Pro, which has been an absolute workhorse for me, and actually has been a relatively recent upgrade. So lots of technology coming in. I bought an Apple Watch. I really like it. It's did drop like $4 on the Apple Watch, but I feel like it justifies the cost. I mean, I got the cellular version, which is probably why it's so expensive, and plus I'm paying whatever, like an extra $10 or so a month just to have the cell service. But it's nice, you know, I get to leave my house without my phone, and I still get to enjoy all the benefits of communication and music and podcasts, and if anybody needs to get a hold of me, they can get a hold of me, but it just comes without all the distracting elements of a phone, which may or may not represent a wider inability for me to control what I do on my phone. But yeah, I think that's a conversation for another time though. Maybe later in this video we can talk a little bit more about how technology has kind of fit into the wider quarantine lifestyle. But yeah, I think that's it for the Apple Watch. It's just nice to have when I'm swimming and when I'm running. But yeah, it's just kind of nice to see all those metrics, because I'm somebody who really likes to see everything that happens. Like it sometimes backfires when I'm like, wow, I've been doing so little lately, and it's like frustrating sometimes, but otherwise it's just really nice to see, like, okay, I've run this much, I've burned this many calories, and other people can see that. And so I don't know, it holds me accountable to be exercising and to be moving around, which is really nice. And on that thread, I've actually been running a lot. Maybe not a lot. A lot's the wrong word. I've been running every day, which has been a really fulfilling challenge. It started off as this initial, like, how many days in a row can I just like run 1 mile? And this is basically me experimenting with, like, what's the minimum I have to do to like build this really good habit? Because I don't know if anybody watching this will recognize this, but Hella Good, I think his name is Hella Sidbeh, is currently running across the United States, and he has been someone who's running every day for about 3 years now, which, you know, I found to be super, super inspiring. And even though he does like 5 to 7 miles a day, which is something I absolutely cannot match, it's just nice to like get outside, 10 minutes like minimum, just go out, do a mile once a day, post it, and then there is some like external validation with like, yay, like I ran a mile every day for a month, and then I got myself a new pair of running shoes, and then I got myself the Apple Watch, and so all these things have like compounded into this like really, really good habit. So I think that there's a lot that I've taken away from like building an entirely new habit from scratch. And but yeah, just as a wider takeaway, I know what keeps me motivated. It's cool to see myself getting faster, and even though as of late I haven't been doing super well in terms of sleep and like stretching and everything that I do outside of exercise, and I get up early for swim practice and a bunch of other factors that kind of influence how much I'm able to run to begin with, but it's very nice to just get out once a day and, you know, get my work in no matter the circumstances. It's like raining, it's hot, it's early, it's late, it's whatever, but yeah, it's kind of creating like this no nonsense, I'll do it every single day no matter what. And it's nice to see that conviction kind of build, and it becomes effortless, right? Like, and then running is like meditative. I pop in my AirPods and I start the run on my watch, and I just go, and I like don't think about it. And by the time I come back, you know, I kind of get the runner's high, even though it's like only like a mile. You finish and you're like, okay, like I finished. That's very fulfilling. And so yeah, that's been kind of a cool journey. But yeah, and then working from home, school from home. Let's talk about that. That has been a very interesting phenomenon where I'm taking college classes. So that's new environment thing number one. And the new environment thing number two is working from home, which frankly I had had so little experience with, because all of the extracurriculars and sports and school and all that stuff I'd basically done outside the house, if that makes sense. I was out doing Saturday school, I was out doing sports, music, singing, all this other stuff that basically relied on me being outside. It was contingent on me being outside my house. And now everything I do via Zoom, which is kind of depressing, but all of the self-help content, people like Thomas Frank and Matt D'Avella and Ali Abdaal, which, you know, don't get me wrong, I love those guys, but like consuming that in my free time has basically generated this like really bad sense of self-inadequacy, where I don't feel like where like productive becomes this buzzword that like doesn't even mean anything to me anymore. It's just like, how can I be like more productive? How do I maximize my time on this and that? And it's just been like, it's been toxic. It's been really, really toxic for me to like think that just because I'm taking a break means I'm not productive and I need to be doing something all the time. And if I'm not, even if I get my work done for the day, and even if I do a lot, at the point at which I stop is the point at which I'm like, okay, so like what's next? My mind is like, why aren't we doing anything? And that it's been really, really bad. And that's something I've been trying to like unpavlov myself from connecting my self-worth to like my productivity and like being able to check things off of like a to-do list. And one thing that I have had to do is that like I've had to cancel my Fantastical subscription because as much as I love like scheduling and being organized, using Fantastical to like be able to block all my days basically down to the minute, and meal times and exercise and meetings and stuff, and having my to-do list condensed onto my calendar, and getting really frustrated when I don't meet exactly the expectations of what I outlined my day to be. That was really, really frustrating, and I was paying $5 a month to stress myself out. With no shade to Fantastical, of course, it's a great service, but I think the way I was using it was not the best. So I canceled that, and I've taken it upon myself to do everything manually, just in iCal and the stock Apple Reminders app. And I found that makes me slow down and like be more intentional about what I put into my calendar. And my calendar no longer looks like a jumbled mess. It just looks like whatever is synchronous, it goes in the calendar, and whatever is not synchronous, it goes in the reminders. And that's like my to-do list, and that's occasionally my reading list. But yeah, it's been an interesting dynamic. I've been trying to untangle my self-worth from my productivity, I think is like the wider theme there. And that's something hopefully I can fix before I go to college, because I think that's going to be really detrimental in terms of when, whenever I try and get things done, I'll like be held back by this really big mental barrier. Yeah, so that's something I'm trying to fix. Just a few more things I'm excited about. A couple apps that I really, really like and that I've found useful. So Drafts for iPhone, for Mac, for Apple Watch has been really, really nice, and just being able to get my ideas down like that. And I don't remember who said it, but your brain is for creating ideas, not storing them. So the sooner I can get those ideas out of my brain and onto paper, or maybe not even paper anymore, but just like onto my computer so I can do something with them and make them actionable, the better. And so that's something that has helped me immensely. And honestly, it's helped me to start writing. It's helped me share my ideas on places like Twitter without even actually having to open the feed and getting distracted by the feed. And then in my mind has been an absolute game changer in terms of just being able to save my ideas like that. It's like a Pinterest board. It's a universal Pinterest board, so I can basically pull whatever I want from the internet, any URL, any image, any like files and stuff, and I can generally just upload that. And I'm pretty much more than willing to pay like the upwards of like $100 and something a year to have everything be sorted, be tagged, artificial intelligence component to that. And so it's really nice to be able to sift through everything and save everything one click. And so basically it's eliminated my need for any cluttered reading lists within apps like Notion, which I'll talk about later. But yeah, I just really appreciate my mind, and just it's one click save. And even though I sometimes fall victim to the collector's fallacy, which is basically like you collect a bunch of things and you feel like you're sort of productive, but you don't really do anything with them, so it ends up just being like dead weight. But I'm trying to figure that out. I'm trying to write more, and so hopefully the things that I collect within my mind will be good things to be able to just, you know, share out via a blog or a website. But yeah. Notion is great. I'm sure you heard of it by now. If you're probably watching this, you might know me personally and know how much I love Notion. But Notion has had this interesting dynamic lately, where I've tried to basically load my entire life onto Notion, and it hasn't really been the best experience, because there are some things that you just like don't need to put down, if that makes sense. Your entire life does not need to be digitized. Some things you can just remember. And trying to force myself to use Notion for everything has actually been really stressful, and there are better and easier ways to do that. And yeah, that's kind of that tie-in with the toxic productivity thing, where like I try and make everything as efficient as possible just by putting this all in one app, and that's just like another logical fallacy. And I was stressing myself out that way. But otherwise, Notion is great. I've hosted my personal website. You can check it out at jonahfoss.com. That's done through Notion and Fruition right now, and you can check out Fruition at fruitionsite.com. I think that's what the URL is. But yeah, that's been a pretty great experience, just to be able to share my ideas and direct people towards that. And then, you know, I generally get anywhere from 24 to like 30 views a day. One day was crazy. I don't know what happened, but I had like 200 people come to my site, and so it's cool to see like I'm able to share my ideas out, and like people actually see it. And having those metrics has been really nice, just in terms of like, oh, cool, like people are actually seeing this, and whether they care or not is a separate discussion. But just the fact that they're seeing it is just it's really fulfilling, and it makes me want to share more of my ideas, which I'm doing here right now. This is the purpose of this life update. Maybe one last thing. This life update series is inspired by the one and only Craig Adams, who is probably the person who I'm watching the most on YouTube and whose content I'm consuming the most. His podcasts are great. They've been really eye-opening. Digital minimalism is something that I'll go over in a different video, but that's something that I've taken after him and other people who have made videos on that. But specifically, Craig's video has just been very eye-opening in terms of like all the dead weight that I've been carrying around, in terms of people that I'm following, and like feeling obligated to follow people back. And so yeah, it's been nice just in terms of kind of cleaning that out, and I've just generally enjoyed his videos, and I've been able to talk with him a few times on Clubhouse, which is pretty nice. But yeah, thank you, Craig, for inspiring me to make this video and just like use what I have, and just like not just share whatever I want. I make whatever I want. I'm not tied down by money. This is all done out of interest. And so hopefully this might even get to him. He might even see this. So if you're seeing this, thank you, Craig. Yeah, and I'm looking forward to maybe talking to you on Clubhouse again, and seeing more of your wonderful hiking videos. If you've made it this far, Jesus, I don't know what to say. This has been a very long-winded life update rant, whatever you want to call it, but it's done. So thank you for watching, and I'll see you again very, very soon. Later.